two-point perspective is very similar to one-point perspective, with the exception of the number of points. Two-point perspective has two vanishing points at either end of the paper. Sometimes when you're using this concept to draw representationally, it helps to think of the vanishing points as sitting outside of the paper, right? Two-point perspective is going to function, it kind of hinges more so on the object being at an angle to the viewer, right? If I'm working on two-point perspective and I'm using this box, I am not typically drawing it straight on because that is going to function like one-point perspective, right? As it turns, two-point perspective starts to work better to represent the box. So we're going to start by laying down a line on the front edge of this rectangle. Because the vanishing points sit off to either end of the paper, we're really only going to have three different ways that two-point perspective is going to function for us, right? We're either going to have the object sitting below the horizon line, we're going to have the object sitting on the horizon line, or we're going to have the object sitting above the horizon line. And for each one of these instances, we are just going to do something very similar to what we did with the one-point perspective, and we're just going to drop lines to the corners of these objects. It's always good to be aware of how dull the pencils become, especially as you start to attempt to make really accurate or fine lines. Okay, so now we have the three objects coming, sort of forming on the page anyways. We have the trajectory of the lines on the top and the bottom on the front faces of the boxes defined, right? And now we just have to decide where those will end, and we want to make something of an accurate representation of the box. Okay, so now we have one of the boxes completely defined, right? So now we have one of the boxes completely defined. The boxes that are lying below and above the horizon line still have the back edges to be defined. And then those are going to function just like we did as we did the top of the front corner, the top and bottom rather of the front corner. We will do the top of the back corner, and we'll take it from the right side over to the left vanishing point. So we're sort of crossing across the object, and then here we will take the back, we'll take the, I guess, top left corner to the right vanishing point. So it kind of, you work like the object goes out, and then on the back side it comes across, if that helps you conceptualize the way that this functions. So then again, we're going from the vanishing point on the right side of the page to the corner, the left corner of the object, right? And same is going to happen. I'm trying to work around this desk. It's gonna drive me crazy. Same is going to happen on the right side of the cube. It's going to go to the left side. All right. And now we have the object defined. Come in here and make some heavier marks. And these lines are just gonna be guides that are gonna tell us where the edges will fall. We still have to cut the edge off before it just rides that line out infinitely, right? And then also in places where the line would go behind another object, we won't draw it there, right? So I think those are pretty good boxes. That's fun. That's a good time. That's good, clean fun. Let's get it. Okay. I was thinking I really would like it to be vertical orientation for this, but that's not necessarily going to happen. So, let's work on these concepts. A couple things happen as you, which is pretty obvious. I think that's pretty straightforward. I think a lot of people, when they're drawing something like a box, have no problem really understanding that, right? Like, as they have more of a bird's eye view on the object, they know that they're going to see more of the top of that box. And then as the object gets higher or their point of view drops lower but is still above, they get to see less and less of the top of that object, right? I think that that's relatively easy to understand how that works because it's still that same sort of trapezoid. It's just shifting. Something that I see students struggle with a lot more